Hi guys, so with update 9 we had a complete revamp on the whole Quirks Affixes system, and a lot of people have been asking what is the meta and how all of the new Quirks and Affixes are working, so we're gonna pretty much talk about that in this video. Now, first of all, we have two new Quirks and two new Affixes in the game. We're gonna showcase those two first. So starting off, we have Boxer as our very first Cosmic Quirk. Now Boxer increases your punch damage. By punch, we just mean the auto attacks, not the ultimate damage, by 2.2x multiplier, 0.3 crit chance, so crit chance is still 30%, just like the rest of the quirks. 1x attack speed, base damage is 2.2x, you have 10% movement speed, and it basically just shuts down your ability to do ultimates. So your units will not cast ultimates anymore, they're just gonna be infinitely punching forever. Now, the other one, Crimson Demon, 30% crit, similar to Boxer. It has base damage of 2x instead of 2.2. It does 5x more ability damage, and it has like a charge speed of 50%. So I guess you just charge your ultimates faster. Now, furthermore, on top of this, if I just stop spinning quirks right here for a second, somewhere here in the update log, if you pay attention, you're gonna see somewhere that it says that your ultimates now scale based off a time, not attacks, something like that. I'm pretty sure I saw it somewhere when I was reading the balance overhaul. Okay, maybe it's probably here. Let me just check something here. Yeah, okay, there we go. Abilities now charge over time, not per hit. So yeah, your abilities are gonna charge 2 times faster, essentially, while you're using that thing. Now, moving on to the skin affixes, right? So we have two skin affixes. We have the warrior skin affix, 75% punch damage, 80% crit, 60% attack speed, and 60% overall damage. Okay, it is actually on this item. It's not on the affix. The no ability are enabled. So it is actually on the affix and not on the quirk. So warrior ability disables your ability to do ultimates. And the second affix is Ancient Magus, which is pretty much your ability version. So you have 75% on ability damage, plus 15% on charge speed, and 6% overall damage, 80% crit. So it's literally just the same. So yeah, these two are essentially the new things. And as you can probably already tell by just reading all of that stuff, they really just want to push the game into this sort of into my eyes at least, it looks very similar to how like Dungeon Quest was played, where you had a main build and then a range build. So you had like one mage build and one melee build. That's kind of how it is, like similarly. Now, honestly, nobody really knows about numbers yet when it comes to balancing of quirks, but this is kind of how the idea is at the moment. So you want to be playing two builds and you want to be having both of those builds at the same time. It's kind of like sort of a harmony system, but although there is no harmony, it is something that you can have a bit of both. So the first build is going to be based on the Boxer, the new quirk. So you're going to have Boxer plus Titan, which buffs like your punch attacks by a lot, and you want to have obviously your warrior thing affix. So this is build number 1, and then build number 2 would be Crimson Death thing, or whatever it's called, plus Black Hole, which also kind of boosts your ultimates, right? It gives you ultimate damage, and it gives you like, I don't know what they did to replace that extra attack count that Black Hole had. I guess it probably has to do something with the timer now, but we don't really know exactly how Black Hole works now. But yeah, so you have Crimson plus Black Hole plus Ancient Magus skin, and that's pretty much how the two builds are gonna be splitting up. Now, I don't know how Celestial still fares into the game, like, and how Celestial still matches up, but for what people told me, I don't even think OTM doesn't even know what he wants to do with him either, because he was testing them or something on his stream. I have no idea. So yeah, apparently we don't really know what a definitive best setup is, Now, Basu says that he ran some tests on the server and apparently using both. It's pretty much what I said earlier. You want to be having both of them at the same time in order to maximize your damage. So you can't really go just full punch build or full mage build. You want to have a little bit of both. And I believe there was an announcement somewhere where Darab himself spoke about that. I think it was in the dev talk where he spoke about that on the champion class system. Because if you go back to his post, you will see he says make sure your team has some of both for optimal rate damage and other world grinding. So yeah, you have a little bit of both, and I think I just hit black hole while I was trying to go for boxer on my goju. That's another story. But yeah, anyway, that's pretty much it, guys. We don't really know exactly how things are playing out yet. We need to do a lot of testing, I guess, to find out, but that's pretty much the main idea of how the Quirk/Affix combination should be working. I don't really know how Celestial fits in all of this. Now, obviously, Celestial is your boss killer affix, which is really good. Like, you're doing so much more damage to bosses, and you're just extremely stronger to bosses. So we have to see how all of these things match. Maybe Celestial still ends up remaining one of the best passives, but as of right now, so early into the update, this is kind of how it all looks. Now, what kind of sucks is that people have invested countless of hours and countless of Robux to try and get their godly affixes, and then they just like throw them out of the window. Maybe godly affix still remains better than either of these two. Maybe you want to be using like one godly and one of these two, depending on the build that you go for. We don't really know yet what's best, so yeah, there's still a lot of testing to happen. But yeah, to me it feels like that all of these things are just like making the game a lot more complicated in the wrong way. Like, basically just after having people farming for such a long time because scraps are so hard to farm, just finally getting their godlies, you just make them like reroll everything again for something new. And the same for Quirks. Like, that's not how you add more content into the game, that's my opinion, by just like nerfing and buffing things constantly and just having people to change them. Like, that's not how you make the game interesting, by just changing the meta non-stop. I think that's just boring and nobody really likes that. But yeah, that's pretty much it. As I said, it's way too early still to tell what's gonna be the best and what's not, so we're gonna have to wait for some more tests within the next upcoming days. But yeah, these are basically the two categories. You just have the melee/punch damage and the caster with ability, and that's pretty much it. So choose whichever one you want to go for and roll to your runes accordingly, and that's pretty much it. So anyway, goodbye.